With a surge of adrenaline, he scooped up his wife and carried her out of the room, yelling for help. As he frantically rushed out of the room, he yelled to their other child, Emily, "Call 911. Now." Emily, startled by the sudden commotion, scrambled to grab the phone and dial the emergency number, trying to make sense of the chaotic scene unfolding before them. As Emily spoke to the 911 operator, their dad attempted to revive their mom, shaking her gently and pleading with her to wake up. "Come on, honey, please. Wake up," he begged, his voice laced with desperation. Meanwhile, Emily's hands trembled as he held the phone, trying to relay the situation to the operator. "My mom, she's not breathing. My dad is trying to wake her up, but she's not responding." Emily's voice cracked with fear. Just as Emily finished speaking, the sound of sirens pierced the air, growing louder with each passing moment. The paramedics burst into the house, rushing to Sharon's side. They quickly assessed the situation and sprang into action, loading her onto a stretcher and wheeling her away to the waiting ambulance. As the emergency van sped away, sirens blaring, Emily and their dad were left standing in the chaotic aftermath, trying to process the events that had just unfolded. Back in the school classroom, the remaining 4 friends gathered together. Amanda, still shaken by the strange noises she heard the night before, decided to share her experiences with her friends. "Girls," Amanda said, her eyes wide and laced with concern. "I heard whispers in the living room last night when I was watching a movie. It sounded like someone was walking around the house." Lovett, Linda, and Lillian exchanged amused glances. "Babe, you're such a wimp," Lillian teased. "It was probably just the wind or your imagination." Linda playfully rolled her eyes. "Yeah, Amanda, you're always hearing things that aren't there." Lovett chuckled, "Maybe you're just trying to get attention." Amanda sighed, feeling frustrated that her friends didn't believe her. "I'm telling you, it was real. And it was scary." But her friends just laughed it off, teasing her good-naturedly. As they continued to tease Amanda, they suddenly realized that someone was missing from their group. "Hey, where's Sharon?" Lovett asked, looking around the classroom as if expecting her to appear at any moment. The others stopped laughing and looked at each other with a mixture of confusion and concern. "I don't know, I thought she would be here," Lillian replied, scanning the seats nearby. Amanda pulled out her phone and tried calling Sharon, but it went straight to voicemail. "That's weird, Sharon always answers her phone," Linda said, her brow furrowed with worry. The group fell into an uncomfortable silence, their minds racing with worst-case scenarios. Where was Sharon? And why wasn't she answering her phone? "Let's go check on her," Lovett said, breaking the silence that had fallen over the group. "Yeah, that's unlike her," Amanda said, nodding in agreement. After obtaining permission from the principal, the girls decided to take a stroll and headed towards Sharon's house, unaware of the tragic news that awaited them. When they arrived, they were met with a solemn atmosphere that immediately hinted at something being terribly wrong. Sharon's family was gathered in the living room, their faces etched with grief. And then, they heard the news that shattered their world. "Sharon's gone," her sister said, her voice barely audible. "She passed away last night." The group was stunned, their minds refusing to accept the truth. They cried extremely bitterly, their wails echoing through the house. They had never felt such a deep pain before, a pain that seemed to rip their hearts apart. Lovett fell to the ground, her body shaking with sobs. Their best friend, their companion, their Sharon, was gone. The thought was unbearable, and they wept as if their tears could bring her back. As the night wore on, the group's sobs subsided, replaced by a numb silence. They sat in Sharon's living room, surrounded by the eerie darkness, until the first light of dawn crept in. With heavy hearts, they finally parted ways, each heading back to their respective homes. The twins, Lillian and Linda, walked together in silence, their footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. As they turned to a corner, they noticed a figure lurking in the shadows. At first, they thought it was just a stray animal, but as the figure got closer, the figure began to take shape. It was tall, gaunt, and impossibly thin, with eyes that glowed like embers in the dark. The twins froze, their hearts racing with fear. The grotesque figure began to move towards them, its pace slow and deliberate. Linda and Lillian exchanged a terrified glance, and then they ran. They sprinted down the street, their feet pounding the pavement, the figure's eyes fixed on them with an unblinking stare. The twins didn't dare to look back, fearing what they might see. They kept running, their breaths coming in short gasps, their hearts pounding in their chests. As Linda and Lillian ran for their lives, the ground beneath them suddenly gave way, and Linda tumbled into a hidden hole. She fell deep into the darkness, her screams echoing off walls as she plummeted downward. When she finally landed with a loud thud, she found herself in a damp, cold hallways, lit only by faint flickers of eerie green light. The air was thick with stench of decay. Linda rushed over to the school bag, flung it open, and dug out her phone. She swiftly turned it on and on its touchlight, shedding light on the area as she began scanning the area, looking for exit route. Lillian burst through the front door, her face pale and tear-stained. "Dad," she cried, gasping for breath. Her father, concerned, rushed to her side. "Lillian, what's wrong? What happened?" Lillian's words stumbled out in a frantic jumble. "Linda, the demon, it took her. We were running, and it chased us, then it disappeared, and Linda was gone," she said, panting. Her father's expression turned grim. "I'll go to the police station and report her missing. You stay here with your brother and try to calm down." Lillian nodded, feeling a mix of fear and guilt. She should have stayed with Linda and done something to save her. Her mind racing with scenario and couldn't ease the ache in her heart. As her father left, Lillian collapsed onto the couch, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. She couldn't shake the image of Linda being tormented by the demon, her screams echoing in her mind. The darkness outside seemed to press in, as if the demon was watching and waiting. Lillian's heart raced with every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves. She knew she wouldn't rest until Linda was back home, safe and sound.